We rolled into Philadelphia on a sweltering August afternoon. Nick's beat-up pickup rattling down the highway like it was just as wiped out as the two of us. The city hit us all at once. Skyscrapers mixing with gritty old row houses, horns blaring, the smell of exhaust tangled with that unmistakable whiff of fresh-baked bread drifting from somewhere. I was pressed up against Nick, clutching my backpack tight, heart pounding with that wild mix of excitement and nerves. This was our fresh start, a place where nobody knew who we'd been back in that small town. Our apartment was on the 4th floor of a tired red brick building in North Philly, Unit 404. The elevator had been broken forever, so we hauled our stuff up the dim stairwell that reeked of damp and stale cigarettes. The door opened to a tiny space. Living room that doubled as bedroom with a ratty old couch, a cramped kitchen nook, and one window overlooking the bustling street below. The hardwood floors creaked, paint peeling in spots on the walls, but to us, it was paradise. Nick grinned ear to ear, slinging an arm around my shoulders. Home sweet home, Lucas. It's officially ours now, babe. I started my freshman year in applied math at Penn the following week. Those massive lecture halls blew my mind. Hundreds of students crammed in, professors scribbling complicated proofs across blackboards, whispers and laptop keys echoing everywhere. I claimed a seat in the back row, hiding behind my thick glasses, trying to focus on theorems and proofs. But my old social anxiety roared back harder than ever. Every time the prof called on someone, my heart slammed like I might be next. I kept quiet, barely talked to anyone, just buried myself in textbooks and problem sets. Math was still my safe place, clean logic, no messy emotions, no surprises. Nick was the total opposite. He landed a job fast at a heavy-duty truck repair shop about a half-hour bus ride away. Grueling work. Hoisting massive engines, swapping tires bigger than me, lying under greasy chassis for 8 hours straight, sometimes pulling overtime till late. He'd come home beat, clothes streaked black with oil, that diesel smell clinging to his skin. He covered most of the bills, rent, utilities, groceries, even my tuition after my partial scholarship, the rest on loans. "Don't worry about it," he'd say, voice steady. "I got this. You just focus on school, that's our future, babe." First, things were good. On those rare nights we were both home, we'd curl up on the couch, scarfing delivery pizza, streaming movies on his ancient laptop. He'd wrap his arms around me from behind, whispering sweet shit that melted away the day's exhaustion. But slowly, the disconnect started showing. Nick would drag in exhausted, muscles aching, just wanting to crash. Me, after battling anxiety on campus all day, I'd want to talk about some cool theorem I'd learned, or dreading a group presentation. Today we covered calculus of variations. You know, it's used for real-world optimization. I'd ramble excitedly, but he'd just nod, eyes half closed. "Yeah, sounds dope, babe," he'd mumble, then pass out on my shoulder. I go quiet, guilt crashing in. He was killing himself for me, while I sat in air-conditioned classrooms theorizing. I was the dead weight, right? Little cracks formed. Long silent evenings, tired glances, offhand comments like, "I'm wiped tonight. Can we talk later?" I knew he didn't mean it. He still loved me, still kissed me every morning before work. But real life was testing us, and I started wondering if our worlds, quiet books and loud Greece, could really mesh. Everything shifted because of one small assignment in advanced data analysis. Professor Miller, an older guy with white hair, sharp eyes behind round glasses, always in plaid shirts, covering the board in dense equations, asked me to stay after class. His office on the 3rd floor of the math building was stacked with books and whiteboards full of scribbles. "Lucas, you've got a real gift for handling big data," he said straight up, voice warm but commanding. "I'm leading a research project on machine learning weather prediction models. Want in? Great chance to learn. Maybe even get a publication." I stood there gripping my backpack, heart racing. A publication? As a freshman? I nodded like crazy, trying not to stutter. "Why, yes, sir. I'd love to." The project ran in a small lab. Just me, 2 PhD students, and Sarah, the most straightforward girl I'd ever met. Tall, brown ponytail, always in oversized hoodies, grinning like life was one big joke. We huddled around laptops, crunching terabytes of climate data. At first I stayed silent as usual, just coding and debugging. But Sarah wouldn't let me hide. "Hey Lucas, that algorithm optimization idea? Fire. Why don't you pitch it to the group?" She shoved me into the spotlight, forcing me to speak. First time I stumbled, face burning, but she just laughed. "Chill. We don't bite. Talk like you're explaining it to a buddy." Little by little, thanks to her, I opened up. She taught me tricks. Hold eye contact a few seconds. Light smile when presenting. Deep breaths if anxiety spiked. Social anxiety? Been there, she confessed one afternoon when it was just us in the lab. Fake it till you make it. Eventually it sticks. I started changing small shifts like the butterfly effect in the chaos theory we were studying. One tiny flap leading to a storm. While my world expanded with code, data, and conversations that didn't make me shake, Nick noticed the growing gap. I'd ramble excitedly about the project, Sarah, Professor Miller, but his eyes flickered with sadness. "You're flying high, babe," he said one night, half joking. "I'm still covered in grease all day." Guilt hit me hard. I was soaring while he slogged. Maybe that's why he wanted me to see his side. One evening, "This weekend the guys at the shop are throwing a party at the boss's garage. Come with me? See how fun my world can be." I hesitated, but didn't want to say no. "Yeah, I'll go." The party was in a huge garage packed with half-fixed rigs, thick diesel fumes mixing with cheap beer and barbecue. Rock music blasting, big rough guys laughing loud, slapping backs, swapping crude stories about hot chicks or that asshole boss. Nick fit right in, laughing deep, beer in hand, introducing me. "This is Lucas, my boyfriend." Guys cheered, some teasing like, "Oh, the cute nerd, huh?" But minutes in, the noise, neon lights, crowding, it suffocated me. Panic attack hit fast. Heart racing, hands shaking, sweating, tunnel vision. I backed up looking for space, but someone slammed into me. World spinning. Nick noticed, rushed over grabbing my hand. "Lucas? You okay, babe?" But in front of his coworkers, pride kicked in. Instead of pulling me out, he forced a laugh. "He's fine, just a little buzzed." Then low and urgent to me, "Hang in there. Don't embarrass me, man." Those words cut deep. I yanked away, eyes stinging, bolted out into the cold night, running home. When he got back, I was curled on the couch, still shaking. He dropped to his knees, face pale. "I'm sorry. I fucked up. I panicked they'd think I was weak bailing early." I looked at him, tears rolling. "I don't need you tough for them. I just need you there when I feel like I'm drowning." Long silence. Then he pulled me close, voice rough. "Love isn't always enough, is it? I gotta understand your world, the anxiety, the quiet lectures, and you gotta step into mine. Loud, rough, but it's how I keep us afloat." I nodded, head on his chest, hearing his heartbeat. Things exploded one chilly fall evening when Nick came home later than usual, face flushed with rage. He slammed his keys on the kitchen table, collapsed on the couch, fists clenched. The truck shop, an old sprawling garage on Philly's outskirts, full of massive rigs and thick oil metal smell, was in deep shit. The owner, a fat middle-aged guy named Harlan, had been stiffing overtime pay for months. He says business is tight, wait, but I saw him roll up in a brand new truck last week. Nick growled. "We bust our asses late nights, and he pockets it all." I'm done. My stomach knotted seeing him like that. He'd always been my protector, fists first from high school days. Now he was ready to swing again. "Tomorrow I confront him," he said low and dangerous. "If he doesn't pay, I'm putting one right in his face." "Nick." "No." I grabbed his hand, keeping calm though panic rose. "You hit him, you're fired, maybe sued. We can't lose your job." He pulled away, stood fast, knuckles white. "So what? Lucas, you don't get it. In my world, sometimes fists are the only fair thing." But I did get it more than he knew. and I didn't want old mistakes repeating. Let me try another way. Show me everyone's pay stubs. He eyed me doubtful but nodded. That night he brought home photocopies from the guys, timesheets, invoices, pay records. I pulled 3 all-nighters at our old laptop in 404. Screen glow in the dark. I dumped data into Excel, crunched numbers. Regular hours, overtime, federal rates. Ran stats, flagged anomalies, totaled stolen pay, exposed slick fraud. Harlan wasn't just shorting OT. He faked hours, illegal tool fees, inflated expenses for tax dodges. By night 3, I had a 20-page report, charts, tables, cited PA labor law. Clear as a proof. Serious violations, big trouble if exposed. I sent it anonymously for the crew, including Nick, to the local mechanics union, detailed email attached. A week later, union stepped in. Harlan audited. Forced to pay back OT plus interest, some guys extra for other violations. Nick came home that day, eyes shining. Not angry, proud. He hugged me from behind in the kitchen. You did it, Lucas. Not one punch and we won. Harlan damn near cried signing checks. I turned. Saw real admiration in his eyes. No longer fragile nerd to shield, but hero worship. First time I really see it, he said husky. You're strong as hell, babe. Not muscles, this. He tapped my forehead gently. I always thought I had to protect you, but you saved me. Saved all of us. I smiled, feeling the shift fair for once. In math, there's equilibrium. In life, we were proving strength isn't just fists, it's numbers and persistence. From then on, Nick listened more. I trusted my own power. We weren't out of sync, we completed each other like perfect equation halves. Things were settling, or so I thought, until the past slammed back like an unforecasted storm. Friday night, late fall. Golden leaves swirling on Philly streets. Chill air driving folks into cozy bars. Nick and I went out to unwind after a solid week. He'd gotten that overtime payout. I'd nailed the first phase of Miller's project. We picked a spot in Old City, exposed brick, soft jazz, cheap craft beer. We sat at the bar corner, hands linked under warm light, laughing about future plans. He talked new truck ideas. I gushed about Sarah boosting my confidence. For the first time in months, we felt normal, no money stress, no anxiety cloud. Then they showed. 3 guys, Kyle, Jake, Mike, old buddies from high school ball team back home. The ones who called me crybaby, helped Nick draw dirty doodles in my notebooks, watched him come out for me in the cafeteria, then ditched him. In town for a game, random stop at this bar. Kyle spotted Nick, grinned huge, back slapped hard. Yo, Nick, heard you ran off to Philly with that nerd. Nick stiffened but forced a smile. Yeah, long time. You guys good? He introduced me, voice shaky. This is Lucas, my boyfriend. They eyed me head to toe, old mockery flashing. Jake, tallest, buzz cut, smirked. 4 eyes from back then? So you're his little houseboy now, Nick? Grinding at the shop to bankroll college boy? Thought you used to bully him. Now you're on your knees. Kyle piled on louder. Yeah, remember? Lucas crying over dumb shit, calling mommy at night scared of the dark. You told us, man. Living with him now. Gotta babysit all night? Or you still ashamed? Keeping it on the down low? Words sliced open old wounds. Anxiety, bullying, sleepless nights. Choking me. I gripped my beer, trying not to shake, heart hammering. Nick, he stayed quiet. Didn't push back. Didn't defend. Just head down. Awkward laugh. Old news, guys. Drink up. Changed topic to the game, but they kept cackling, digging. I figured he held back to avoid a fight. Didn't want trouble affecting his job or my scholarship project. But that silence hurt worst. Felt like he was ashamed of us. Of loving weak me. We left early, air thick. Rain started as we walked home to 404. Neon reflecting on wet pavement. I couldn't hold it. Stopped in the downpour. Spun on him. Why didn't you say anything? Let them trash us. Trash me. Like that. He stopped. Rain streaking his face. Lucas, I didn't want to brawl. I blow up. I lose everything, job, us. I did it for you. for our future. But I wasn't hearing it. Tears mixing rain. For me? Or because you're still ashamed? Still think loving me is some debt from back then? If you really loved me, you'd have stood up for us. Long pause, then rough. I don't know. Maybe I need time to figure it out. That shattered everything. We fought screaming in the storm, voices lost in thunder. Finally I said, then we need space. I'll crash at Sarah's. He nodded, eyes red, didn't stop me. Back home I packed a bag, hands shaking under dim light. Apartment 404 suddenly huge and empty. We agreed to a break. Not break up, just think. But deep down I feared old errors were pushing us apart forever. Days without Nick dragged like an infinite convergent series, closer to peace but never quite there. I crashed on Sarah's couch in her tiny University City spot, blocks from campus. Coffee and old books smell everywhere. She didn't pry, just left a spare key and fridge note. Cry if you need. Got tissues and frozen pizza. I kept going to class. Back row, coding late in lab. But nights in her quiet place without Nick suffocated me. No faint diesel scent. No husky laugh at dumb comedies. No strong arms pulling me close when midnight anxiety hit. Painful realization. I'd relied on him like a crutch, never learned to heal solo. Third week apart. I finally dragged myself to campus counseling center, low glass building, tiny sign easy to miss. Waiting room quiet, water cooler bubbling, old magazines. Hands shaking filling forms, checking social anxiety and panic attacks. When Dr. Elena, mid-age woman, hair bun, soft voice, called me, I almost bolted, but I stayed. Sat on gray couch, spilled everything. Old bullying, midnight terror calls to mom, always feeling like Nick's burden. She just listened. Gentle questions. When do you feel you need rescuing most? What do you think real strength is? Sessions stretched a month. Learned 478 breathing for attacks. Spotting cognitive distortions tanking my self-worth. Learned needing people isn't weak, but inability to stand alone burdens everyone, especially who you love. You can't support anyone if you're still wobbling, she said last session, words sinking deep. Meanwhile, Nick healed his way. Didn't see him, just heard through a shop guy Sarah knew. He didn't drown in booze or bar fights like some. Instead enrolled in night classes at community college. Advanced truck diagnostics cert. Electronics, computer systems. After brutal shifts he drove to class, took notes on circuits and OBD2 software. Bought used books, walls of 404 covered in sticky notes. Studied till 2 to 3 a.m., eyes bloodshot but grinding. Buddy said, Nick says he's tired of being the dumb grease monkey. Wants to match his college boy boyfriend. Talk future without feeling less. Hearing that twisted my heart. He was building himself up, not overprotecting me but leveling up. Healthy love means both growing strong. We didn't text, didn't call. Just healed separately, like curves bending to intersect higher, sturdier. I slept better, fewer nightmares. Nick, I pictured him changing an empty 404, pushing so one day we'd stand equal, sharing loads instead of him carrying all. End of freshman year came fast. Student Research Awards in the Grand Hall. High ceilings, polished with seats, stage lights sparkling. First suit ever, tie crooked from nerves. Waiting backstage with honor certificate. Professor Miller shoulder patted. You earned this, Lucas. Speak up. Don't let anxiety win. My name called, hall erupted. Legs jelly. Heart pounding like garage panic, but different. Deep 478 breath. Gripped mic, thank you. I started voice shaky but steady. This year I learned that in math and life error isn't failure. It's essential in complex systems. We can't eliminate it, but we can measure, adjust, live with it. Those errors get us closer to the final answer. Balance. Second of silence, then thunderous applause. Sarah front row winked huge grin. I stepped off flushed but floating, finally belonging. After, heading to parking lot, backpack heavy with books and award. And there he was, Nick leaning on a rebuilt vintage motorcycle, black frame gleaming, new leather seat, engine purring low. Leather jacket, wind-tousled hair. Familiar smile, now more confident. Congrats, babe. So damn proud. I ran, crushed into him, grease and cologne home. This bike, built it from scrap. Runs perfect now. Like us. Helmets on. I wrapped arms around his waist. Bike roared out of campus into cool Philly night. He took us to that hill overlooking the city. Stopped. Sat on warm seat shoulder to shoulder. Philly sprawling below. Schuylkill glittering. Skyscrapers blazing. Ben Franklin Bridge glowing distant. You were right, he whispered. Fingers laced tight. Errors are part of it. We had plenty. From back home, my dumb moments months apart. But I learned to correct. Got my new cert, better job coming. And you? Stronger than I ever knew. I leaned on his shoulder. You too. We're not bully and victim anymore. Not protector and protected. Just Nick and Lucas. Grown men with scars, still choosing each other. We sat long, city hum on the wind, planning year 2. My continued research, his advancement, paying debts together, building a synced future. Life's no perfect error-free equation. But we found the solution, balance, where 2 complicated variables still converge. Solid and full of hope. And for the first time, I wasn't scared of unknowns. Because now I had Nick and he had me to solve them together.